welcome back to another riveting episode of the Yore Town Podcast. The voice you're hearing, it's me. It's Matt.
And I'm Meg.
That's Meg.
Hey.
What's up, Meg?
Not much.
Sweet. Today, we're going to delve. You like I'm using these fancy words. I'm trying to sound super smart because people in the comments are like, "Oh, you could even say words or names." There's going to be a lot of names I probably can't say. But we're going to delve into a chilling case that's actually haunted the Dale City community for years. And this one is a true crime one. And it's an unsolved mystery. I feel like a lot of true crime people and a lot of people that are, into this, style of podcast and show probably have heard of this story. And this was an interesting one to research and leaves a lot of questions. And I'm curious your take on it. So it is pretty gruesome. We're going to try to leave out a lot of the gruesome details, but it's an unsolved triple murder of 3 women: Karen Scarborough, Sharon Lake, and Deborah Frank. Pretty crazy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Should we jump into this one?
Yes,
Should we delve into this one? All right,
Do it.
Let's try to do the intro. Is it going to work?
Sure.
Okay, let's try. When?
No.
Maybe it worked. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. I feel like it did. I don't know. Do you think it worked? I don't think it worked.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Well, you either enjoyed it or you didn't hear it and you don't know what we're talking about. So I do apologize. Maybe I'll edit it in. But either way, what we do know is on June 24th, 1978, in a quiet town, it was shaken to its core when the bodies of 3 women were discovered in a crime scene that left investigators baffled. Their lives were tragically cut short, and their deaths remain a mystery to this day. On this episode, we're going to explore the details of the case, the victims' backgrounds, and the challenges faced by law enforcement. Along the way, we're also going to dive into the theories and maybe even some rumors that have swirled around the case, as well as the impact that this tragedy has left on a community, which it always, I feel like that's not always talked about on a lot of the podcasts and TV shows, is how it really affects the community after,
Mm-hmm.
because it's, especially in smaller towns,
Right.
it really just kind of shakes this community. So I don't know, grab a seat, grab a beverage. If you're at work, grab a water, drink lots of water. Let's go through this journey in Yore Town history. So crime scene takes place in Ryland Home Sales Trailer in Woodbridge at approximately 6:45 p.m. in Dale City, Virginia, a new state on the Yore Town map. Check it out, yoretown.com. About 25 miles south of Washington, D.C. You might have heard of that place.
I have.
Where the 3 women were found murdered. Dale City is known for its suburban neighborhoods with a mix of single-family homes, townhouses, and apartment complexes. The community offers a range of housing options for different needs and budgets. The bodies of Karen Scarborough, Sharon Lake, and Deborah Frank were discovered in a trailer where Karen started the first day of her very first job. She's 17 years old at the time, was full of anticipation on her first day at her new job. Her family remembered how she changed her outfit 3 times that Saturday morning. Finally choosing a knee-length black floral dress, she carefully brushed her long, silky hair and applied makeup, pausing nervously in front of the mirror. Karen's older sister, Janet, recalls her kind of that she was reluctant to wear her large glasses because Karen just kind of always hated them, but she put them on to enhance her brown eyes before she walks out the front door, hopes and dreams, just aspiring, just to kind of enter the workforce for the very first time. But little did she know it was going to be the last time she would ever leave her home.
Mm-hmm.
The Scarborough family experienced a day they obviously will never forget, and their lives were impacted immediately and forever changed. In an attempt to make sense of what transpired, they were just kind of left grappling with shock and grief. I couldn't imagine. The fateful day began when the Scarborough family dropped Karen off at her workplace, which was a trailer, which actually was serving as a housing development office in Dale City. They even stopped right around 1 o'clock to give her a sandwich for a lunch break. Later in the afternoon, Karen's mother, Joan, a nurse's aide at Quantico Naval Hospital, arrived to pick Karen up after work. She waited outside the trailer, respecting her daughter's privacy, until a man exited the trailer and told her something just wasn't right. So she rushes inside, only to be met with a horrifying sight: the bodies of Karen and two other women lying on the floor. She immediately checked their pulses, discovering that all three had been shot in the back of the head. Karen, who still had a pulse, ended up dying in her mother's arms within minutes. The story, that's what I've heard, but there was also, just to let everybody know, there was another potential story where she did make it until the ambulance later passed away in the ambulance. I also read that she passed away at the hospital, but either way, her mother was there, and man, yeah. Karen's younger sister, Janet, recalled Karen's plans and dreams. Freshly graduated from high school, she was saving up a car and would have made $3.50 an hour at her job. Janet remembered their playful banter that morning about, well, Karen earning more than her. The news of the tragedy obviously sent shockwaves through the community. As the family dealt with losses of their lives, they received an outpouring of community support, not only from the community, but the media, and so many offers of people to help. Yet friends were few, as Karen, known for her independence, kept many people at a distance. Karen's sister Janet reflected on Karen's reserved nature and her struggles with making friends. Despite her beauty, she often felt isolated and misunderstood. Janet described her sister's aspirations, wanting to marry a millionaire and travel the world as a stewardess. In her grief, Janet revealed the complexity of Karen's life, her desire to please their parents, and her impeccable sense of style. Karen's fear of forming close friendships were evident, leaving Janet to remember her sister trapped within her own world. So the crime, just a terrible, terrible crime, they figured happened between 4 and 6:55 p.m. on Saturday, a timeline that was actually confirmed by the autopsy. So as we explored this unsettling case, police thankfully ruled out any sexual assault before they were shot, and they were shot with a small caliber weapon. The autopsy also noted no signs of a struggle at a scene, suggesting the murders were executed with chilling precision, which is something that is kind of relevant throughout the entire case. Just, it appeared potentially that this was like a professional killer. But why? Maybe there was money. Maybe there was more. But a small amount of cash, only about $30, was taken from the victims' purses, along with some personal items. But what's weird about this case that a lot of people talk about, they never have, to this day, revealed what these personal items were. And law enforcement does not believe that robbery was the actual primary motive for the slayings. And they, like I said, they just never really revealed these items. They're all just confidential, which I think is very odd.
It is odd.
And murder in Prince William County, where Dale City is, a rapidly developing Virginia jurisdiction on the southern edge of Washington suburbs, isn't uncommon. Yet the county of 128,500 people typically averages one murder a month at the time of this murder. Yet most murders in the past, according to Morgan, have been simple crimes of rage or robbery. But this one, with no clear motive, added to the puzzling of this entire case to the police. Obviously, the FBI then gets involved, and they studied the murders and concluded it was committed by a professional killer. And anyone they had suspects, they weren't professional killers. So more or less, these murders happen. Police do the investigation. FBI does the investigation. They really don't have any suspects. Because, there's not really, like I said, a lot of murders happen there, one a month, but none like this, none by a professional. So,
and all three of the women worked in the same place.
So the younger one, 17-year-old, first day on the job, she worked there. The other two, Sharon and Deborah, we don't really know about them. They did not work there.
They don't know why they were there.
They do. Let's jump into it. That's a great question. So Sharon Lake, 25-year-old school teacher from Dale City, and her friend, who was 23, which is Deborah Warner Frank from Alexandria, they were house hunting. So they went to the Ryland Home sales trailer where she worked to kind of get some information on some houses and what was for sale and stuff in the area. And keep in mind, this is a dead-end road on Dale Boulevard where they joined Karen on her first day. Mrs. Lake was a first-grade teacher at an elementary school that I really don't want to try to say, but I will for the show because people think it's funny when I can. Occoquan Elementary School. and a graduate of Christopher Newport College in Newport News. Mrs. Frank was employed by BDM Incorporated, a McLean consulting firm. Mrs. Frank and her husband were visiting the lakes at their home in Dale City when the two women left about 4 p.m. to go grocery shopping and to pick up some brochures on homes for sale. Police said they stopped at the Safeway in the Forestdale Plaza Shopping Center, went to the Dale City sales office for homes brochures, and then to the Ryland trailer. Mrs. Frank was considering buying a home and had brought, along Mrs. Lake, an acquaintance who lived nearby. The husbands of them actually met and became really good friends. They worked at the Pentagon. And the Franks were thinking of moving into the Woodbridge area. Police then kind of started to develop several theories about the tragic murder. One scenario suggested that the killer might have been attempting a sexual assault on Scarborough, which was proved wrong, thankfully. And then maybe the other two women unexpectedly entered the trailer, disrupting the attack. Another possibility is that the murderer had been trailing the two women around Dale City that afternoon while they shopped for housing, and then maybe, opportunity struck when they were on a dead-end road in a trailer. Maybe the new employee just kind of got caught. Wrong place, wrong time. Investigators then were exploring potential connections to Ryland Homes, a prominent Washington-based construction company. They were investigating whether there may have been any disgruntled employees or clients who had a motive to target the other women who usually worked weekends at the trailer. Police quickly cleared one individual who was seen at the trailer a week prior to the murders and reportedly behaved oddly toward the Ryland staff. What's really weird, though, is investigators found a card filled out in the trailer on the day of the murder by a possible home buyer, but it was a fake name and a fake number. They tried to analyze and match the handwriting, and they got nothing. They also had a lead of a red Volkswagen seen in the area, but that lead went nowhere. And this part's wild. There was a woman, Belida Crisp, I believe is the name, anywhere reported from 150 to 180 feet away from this trailer is where they lived. She was just kind of hanging out. I guess it was a nice day. The husband was out cutting some wood, had the chainsaw going. Neither of them see or hear anything. Prince William County prosecutor Paul Ebert released a drawing of a major suspect in the execution-style murders of the women, and every press conference, everything that they released, they just kept saying everything that they were just perplexed. But Paul Ebert said illegal drug dealing may have been another motive in the killings, that the murderer could have ties to some organized criminal activity. The prosecutor would not elaborate, except to say to police that they have no evidence that any of the victims were actually involved in drug trafficking. Ebert said the suspect, a man in his late 20s with curly, reddish or brownish blonde hair and a medium build, was spotted driving away from the trailer where the women were killed on June 24th, the day of the crime. The suspect was wearing a white and green striped pullover t-shirt with a collar, was driving a dark green subcompact car with a hatchback and a white bucket seat. A witness actually driving past the trailer, which served as the sales office, saw the suspect pulling away from the trailer and turning around at the dead end of the Dale Boulevard. The suspect did something that stuck out in the witness's mind, Ebert said. But guess what, Meg? Nothing came from it.
I knew you were going to say that.
What's also crazy is Shirley Braun. She is the one that usually works almost every single Saturday. But that weekend, she was out of town. They're saying that there was no way for her to actually know, but the trip that she took probably saved her life. As the weeks turned to months, and the months to years, and the years to decades, despite authorities' efforts, the case went cold. No arrests made, few leads to follow. Renewed efforts have been made over the years to solve the case, but as of today, it still remains a mystery. There was a quote, not the quote of the episode, but, that they were just kind of saying, that it's perplexing. And I just don't understand how you can continue to just keep saying perplexed, but nothing. I mean, is it because there's a professional and they were able to cover their tracks and just do everything so, what's the word I'm looking for? Sneakily? Is that a word?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll go with it. But I don't know. I guess this is going to bring us to the end of today's episode. I mean, we've covered the case from all of the little details. I mean, I scoured Reddit. I scoured the internet. I did everything I could to find more and more, and there's just nothing out there. I mean, it's crazy to me. But what is the tragedy still leaves many questions unanswered, and the families unfortunately just have no closing, no, you know what I mean? It's just with the Pentagon connections, FBI involved. I just don't understand how nothing could come from this.
Baffles me when there's zero evidence.
Zero.
How can there be zero evidence?
I just don't know this. And maybe, at the time of this, it was still the 70s. A lot of murders in the 70s, a lot of unsolved murders in the 70s, obviously technology. And maybe it's just another one of those kind of scenarios where the police just didn't have the training or the capability to collect evidence like they normally, or not normally, but they would today, I mean, today there's cameras and phones and a lot of other technology, obviously, but as you would see on the internet and a lot of the cool TV shows, if you continue to follow the case, look into the case, like a lot of people still are, and you have any information, you still can come forward and maybe help bring some closure to the families in the community. So obviously you can contact the police, probably the FBI. I don't know the numbers to the Dale City, but we have the Googles. So just Google it, and maybe you know some, maybe you don't. But what I did find, which was pretty cool in my opinion, the true crime community and a lot of people, there's people out there still doing a lot of research, asking questions. There were some names thrown around that, hey, it had to be this person. And obviously without any evidence or anything from the police, I'm not going to just throw names of, people that are doing the research out there. But there's still some people that are grinding, trying to figure this one out. So it's an intriguing one. It's an interesting one. And hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Did you enjoy that one, Meg?
I did.
Heck yeah. A lot of unanswered questions, though, huh?
Mm-hmm. I just feel like there needs to be evidence.
Just nothing. Unbelievable. But
like, was it a sniper?
No, they were executed inside. I mean, like, had a lot of the things, like I said, I didn't want to put a lot of the gruesome details, but from what I had read in a lot of the evidence and stuff, it was kind of like an execution style. Whoever was there kind of had them kneel or lay.
And who was the guy that was walking out of the building?
There was somebody there that was checking on the business, I guess, and was like, hey, something's wrong. They went to help close up, being the first day. It was somebody that worked for the company.
Just something's wrong.
I mean, I'm sure that's not exactly what they said, but I mean, that's just kind of
pretty big something.
Something's not right here. Yes. I mean, what do you want me to put in there? Like, oh my God, there's a bunch of dead people. There's a blood everywhere. Ah!
Well, I didn't know if maybe he had called it in or if he only told the mother.
I think from what I was understood, he was kind of there to help close things up, end of day, whatever, gather the paperwork, maybe see how, the first day went. And then, she pulls in and it's like, something's wrong.
Gotcha.
But all right, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, cool. If you didn't, I'm sorry for the 18 and a half minutes of you having to listen to me and Meg. But if you want to check out yoretown.com, we got a lot of cool stuff there. And we appreciate every single person that takes some time out of their busy day to listen to us. Stay tuned. Our next episode, we're going to dive into another intriguing case from your town's history. If you have a story, a place, a town, something you've heard about, shoot it over. Send us a message on the Instagrams, the emails, whatever it is. We'd love to continue this. And we got a new little pin. Boop. Virginia. Welcome to the map. Shout out to our sources, northernvirginiamag.com, Wikipedia, Washington Post, WUSA 9. We do have a quote. Would you like to read the quote?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just because a case is cold doesn't mean it's forgotten. We carry their stories in our hearts. The Book of Cold Cases.
Yeah, I thought it was very fitting for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, that's all we got. Hopefully you have a great rest of your week, day, weekend, month, year, whatever it might be. But we look forward to doing another episode. Well, should we do true crime next week or should we not tell them?
Let's not tell.
Ooh, you don't get to know what we're doing. But we will be back. Can't thank you guys enough. Take care. I got nothing else. You got anything else?
Nope.
Okay, gotta go.
Bye.
Bye.